Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, February 1st edition of the MMAOB Daily Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin, and I'm joined by my co-host here on Monday morning, Mr. Big Marcel 24, Marcel Dorff, MMA DNA, the man, the myth, the legend. Marcel, man, how was your weekend?
I'm doing well, man. How are you? Yeah.
Are you looking for the myth and the legend behind
me, right?
Man.
I mean,
no, I'm good. I'm good, man. You know what, Marcel? It's actually nice. Like I wanted to watch UFC this weekend, but it was kind of nice to have a weekend where I could just relax. Kind of. I caught up on my sleep this week. I did a lot of work and stuff, so it wasn't too bad. There was an event, XMMA. Did you watch the event? I was going to ask.
Yeah, man, I did.
Okay. So I didn't watch it, Marcel. For once, I spent the Saturday night with my fiance. We just watched movies. We didn't watch MMA. I told Cole I was going to watch the card, but honestly, I was like, okay, the next 4 or 5 weeks is all UFC. I got to be nice for once, right? So we just kind of relaxed. But I did see the GIFs. So you know what? Let's start with that. There's some more intense stuff that we're going to talk about in a few minutes here, like some more important stuff, I would say. But let's start with the fun stuff, Marcel. Let's start with the XMMA card. Main event of the evening. James Vick gets knocked out by Andre Fiallo. I'm going to pull up the video of the knockout right now. But what were your thoughts on this knockout? Because you said you saw the fight. So
yeah, man. I mean, Vick started well in the first round. Lots of kicks, trying to keep Fiallo at distance, you know.
Yep.
And he definitely won that first round. And after that, Fiallo could close the distance, and he peppered Vick with some uppercuts from hell. And Vick was like 2 or 3 times out on his feet. And then the referee saved him. That was a good win for Fiallo, good comeback win after the first round. And yeah, man, Vick is now like 5 losses in a row with four times getting stopped via TKO or knockout.
Yep.
It's, pretty bad actually. And
let's watch the knockout. Let's watch the knockout. I guess pulled it up. Pull it up here. Got it? Okay, cool. Let me just up the screen. All right, let's watch this one. So, yeah, Fiallo is from PFL. I remember him a little bit from PFL, but he's not really a knockout guy, right? The thing is, look at James Vick's defense here, Marcel.
Yeah.
Like, he's not even protecting his face. Look at this. Hands down right by his waist. Look at this.
He was already tagged here, man.
Yeah, he was rocked already, no doubt about it. But I'm just saying, like, in general, he's got the tall man defense where he just keeps his head on the post, you know? Look at this. Yeah. The fight could be stopped right now, I think. Mm-hmm. Oh, look at that uppercut. Right here, I think it's stopped, right? He jumps in. It's a standing TKO. Yeah.
Multiple cuts. Yeah.
You know what, man? I think this fight could have been stopped already because, like, he's really on wobbly feet. And one more punch, yeah. Because, like you said, Marcel, he was already hurt before that, right? So,
yeah.
Nice finish. I mean, he got the job done. So that was a good one. I think this guy should probably retire, man. I don't think he should fight anymore. I mean, you look at his resume, Marcel, it's just knockout loss after knockout loss. Now, I want to watch this one, too. This is Francisco Rivera. He came back. 5-year layoff, Marcel. Look at this.
Very solid performance, man.
Those body shots. Really knocks him out here. Look at this. Oh, right there. Right behind the ear. Done. You know what? And, yeah, I mean, I used to love Cisco. I loved Cisco when he was in the UFC. He tested positive a few different times, though. So
yeah,
a guy that was juicing, obviously. I mean, there's no doubt about it, Marcel. But 5 years away, comes back with that finish. It's pretty nice, right?
Dude, that killer fight against John Lineker, I think, that 1 round.
Buddy, when I wrote the story yesterday, I, of course, mentioned that fight. I was like, he had a legendary 1-round slugfest. Like,
yeah.
Marcel
was
just
fight of the night.
Pieces. Yeah. What are you going to say?
That went fight of the night, actually, that fight.
It was one round and one fight.
Yeah, 1 round fight of the night.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that happened. And then what else happened? Chris Curtis won his fight, I believe.
Yeah, that was actually had to do with the cardio, I think, man. Chris Curtis had great cardio and Kyle Stewart didn't. So at a certain moment, I think it was 1-1 going into the third. The most fun part was Sean Strickland coaching Chris Curtis. Strickland was like the whole time, he's like, he's hurt, man. He can't take this. You're going to drop him, man. Look at him, man. He's done. The whole damn...
On Strickland?
Yeah, Sean Strickland. The whole
was he with Curtis or no?
Yeah, he was with Chris.
Okay,
Curtis.
so he's just messing with him. He's messing with him, right?
He was messing with Carl.
Yeah, because I went into his Instagram and it's so confusing because all his teammates are like, you're a bad teammate and stuff, and I was like, what's going on here? And then it's like you said, it's a big joke, right? But I really like Strickland. But yeah, Chris Curtis, Marcel, a guy that, in my opinion, probably got a little bit of a raw deal from the UFC because why wasn't he invited to? After the Contender Series, you know?
Let's not say a little bit. It was bloody awful. They didn't give him a contract. It was the most complete performance of the night back then. I can't remember anymore who he fought, but he won by a KO or TKO in the 3rd round, I remember. It was a good performance. And he's the only one from that night who there were more who didn't get one, but those guys are in the UFC now or have got a chance, and he still never got a chance in the UFC.
Yeah.
So I don't know why, but yeah.
And then the other fight that was like noteworthy, I got two more fights actually. Kyle Bochniak picked up a win over Chow Uruguay. Decision, and then Marcelo Gome defeated Brandon Herb by arm triangle. Any thoughts on those two fights? I didn't see.
Yeah, man, the Bochniak against Uruguay. You should check, man. That fight? Absolutely barn burner, man. Bochniak fighting how we always fights come forward. First round he lost that one, but the second and third round he put it on Uruguay, and Uruguay had nothing to say do back anymore. So very good fight, very fun fight. Bochniak said as well that he hopes he can get back to the UFC at some point, that he was still too young and inexperienced in his first run. So we'll see what happens. And that other one, Marcelo Gome against Brandon Herbert. Gome did very well, man. He choked him out at a certain moment. I mean, what's fun was Gome was wearing.
That's what Cole said right here. I gotta laugh at this. He says, "What's better, Strickland cornering with flip flops and UFC shorts, or Gome fighting in his UFC shorts?" Yeah, I gotta see the picture of this. I'm gonna look at it. Go ahead.
Gome at the shorts from at UFC shorts with Clitson Abreu's name on it. So,
are you kidding me? Oh my god, I gotta find this. I didn't see this. I see your tweet about it. Yours is the top tweet actually. I see Craig Allen joking about it. A few other people were joking about it. I don't actually. There is a picture here. I got the picture. I'll pull it up. This is too funny. I didn't see it, right? So, and I was planning on watching this card, but like I said, I had to give the wifey some time. But Marcel.
Abreu.
Oh my god, that is so fucking. Oh, that's so funny. Anyways, yeah, so that happened, and then other results. I don't really know the rest of the guys. Like Jack May lost his fight, the heavyweight. He lost his fight.
Yeah, he fought against
Kyle Noblet.
Kyle Noblet. He was a 24-hour replacement for us that guy the Jackson Yogi Bear. What's his name? Big Bear. The big guy with the dreadlocks.
Chris Barrett or something? Is that his name?
Yeah, exactly. Chris
Barrett, Barnett.
Barnett. Yeah,
of course. Yeah. Like, he's always in Japan and stuff. I know him. Yeah. This Noblet guy, I'm gonna pull up his record here. 11-2. He's actually on a 2-fight win streak. I don't know him a lot. He lost to Jamal Pogues, who I know a little bit about. I don't really know his opposition.
Noblet is pretty decent, man. But he was supposed to fight on the Contender Series, but then I think a certain website got behind or got into his history. Oh no! And he has some offenses like sexual assault and something. So
you're joking? Oh my god!
Nah, that's real. So he is not. He hasn't got the chance to go in the Contender Series.
Well, I got to Google that now. I believe you completely. I mean, listen, there's a lot of bad people in everything, Marcel. There's a lot of bad people. I don't know the guy personally. I mean, maybe he's a changed man, but like, I don't know. Like, I'm just saying. Oh yeah, I see. Right, you literally type his name in, and Bloody Elbows report is right there. Tim Bissell is actually a good friend of mine. Oh wow, this is from 4 years ago, eh? Mm-hmm. Registered sex offender. Wow, this is terrible, dude. Oh, God. Okay, yeah. I can see why he's on the UFC, dude. I don't think we need this guy in the UFC, actually. Let's not give this guy some time of day anymore. After reading that is not good. Thank you for telling me that, Marcel, because I'm like, maybe this guy's a good prospect. He beat Shaq May, and then I just saw the bloody. If you type his name in, guys, it's the first thing that comes up, literally. So, again, people can change, but, I mean, that's not very nice. Okay, there's a lot of other news to talk about. Let's start with the big one here, Marcel, because you had messaged me about it on Twitter when it happened. There's footage, this from last week, but we got to talk about it. It is important, so let's talk about it. Basically, Casey Kenney was a guest on Sean O'Malley's podcast with his coach, Tim Welch. I think it's called like the Sugar Timbo Show or something. And at one point during the show, there's a clip on Twitter. I'm sure you guys have seen it by now. But yeah, at one point during the show, they started having this bizarre discussion about doing drugs and doing heroin while O'Malley's holding a baby. Is that his baby or someone else's? I don't watch his podcast. I don't know. He's holding a small child. They're talking about heroin, which is itself really fucked up, I think. And then they cut the clip, and then you see Tim Welch asking Casey Kenney like, "Yo, would you smash Megan Anderson?" He's like, "I'm not sure." He's like, "Come on, man, you know you wouldn't." He's like, "Yeah, I guess if I was drunk at like 4 a.m. or something." That's basically what he said. So listen, do guys have these discussions behind closed doors, Marcel? It's yes. I mean, it's true. Men do talk about the stuff. They call it locker room talk, boys with boys. I'm not saying it's the right thing for guys to talk about, but guys do talk about sex. Women talk about sex. People talk about sex. To do this on a public platform is disgusting, in my opinion. I think it was beyond wrong to call it your coworker for sex publicly. It's weird. Again, if he had said this to him privately, Marcel, no one would ever have known about it. But they did it on camera. They did it for a podcast for thousands of people to see. It's disgusting, dude. I'm not saying they're going to cut Casey Kenney. I hope they don't. I love the guy. He's a great fighter. I do think this negative stigma will be with him for a while, man. And the thing is, like, these guys did apologize, but they only apologized after she complained about it. They didn't apologize beforehand. If they had said, listen, I said something wrong, it's going to come out, it's going to make me look bad, I'm sorry, I regret it. They could have did that, Marcel. They waited for it to become an issue, waited for her to say it was a problem. It was clearly a problem. As soon as I saw it, I was like, really, guys? Like, you're going to say that publicly? And I'm not saying it's right to say it privately, but let's be honest. We know what guys talk about, Marcel. Guys talk about sex all the time. You're a guy, I'm a guy. But this is what guys talk about. It's not always the nicest thing. It's the same with women. People talk about sex. Sex is part of life. Sex is dirty. Sex is disgusting. Sex is awesome. It's everything, right? But to do it publicly like that is just wrong. It was wrong. And, there's the UFC code of conduct, and they can't actually punish him for this kind of stuff. I don't think they will, Marcel, especially after there was an apology issued. And it doesn't seem like Megan's going after it anymore. But I know you were bothered by it too. So I want to hear your thoughts on it, Marcel. But overall, these guys are idiots, man. What do you think, though?
Actually, more about it. That is just stupid, man. I mean, you got to know what you can say in public and what you can't say in public, and these things happen, people talk like that. And normally, if you talk like that with your friends or something, it doesn't come out. But if you're a public figure and you're going to record what you're saying, you have to watch out what you say,
yep.
And then it's just stupid,
Yep.
And I don't think those guys are the sharpest tools in the shed, So, I mean, I've seen some of those podcasts sometimes. I told you about one. I'm not going to say. I don't really feel to talk about it here because I will probably damage another fighter. So
we won't.
Yeah,
I mean, we can say we don't have to say the fighter, but there was a discussion that you had told me about Sean and another fighter that was about doing recreational drugs. That
it was Tim Welsh with that fighter.
I'm sorry, Tim Welsh's coach.
Yeah.
We don't need to name the fighter, but yeah, I mean, you told me about it, and you said I think the video is private, so people can't see it now. But listen, man, like these guys want to talk about that stuff, that's fine. But when you have an audience of young people, especially, they're very receptive to listening to, like, their heroes. I mean, a lot of people think Sean O'Malley's their hero. He smokes weed, he fights, like they think he's cool. Mm-hmm. I have no problem with weed, man. I'm not into like heavy drugs, dude. I've never did them. I've only smoked weed and stuff before. So for me, it's like hearing these kind of discussions about heroin and stuff is really bizarre to me, man. Like, this guy is. Someone's got to talk to him, dude. To me, he's one of the most overrated guys right now in the UFC. Like, what's his best win? Eddie Wineland? 40-year-old Eddie Wineland? I mean, I don't know. Anything else you want to talk about this, Marcel? Like, I mean, is there anything else you want to say? I'm just curious to see how what happens at UFC 259, because they're both fighting on the same card. Will there be a run-in backstage or something? Is there going to be an apology in person? I'm not sure. What are you going to say?
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest, man. I mean, it seems to me always like, and I know I get some shit for this, but the UFC always promoting the fighters they maybe shouldn't promote weird stuff, And then I'm not talking about Casey Kenney, but I'm talking about O'Malley here.
And I don't want to say I feel bad for Kenney, because honestly, he should have been smarter and said no comment. Like, no comment, guys. We'll talk about that off camera or something. He was stupid to even say it, to give an answer. But the guy asked him the question. I blame the coach a lot in this situation. I just want to get this comment from Daniel Edwards. He says, O'Malley also made a borderline racist comment on his podcast. I don't watch his podcast, so I'm not sure what he said. But he said, so I saw it coming. Don't think they meant harm, but it's sophomore humor is best kept private, 100%. I mean, this is locker room talk. Boys will be boys. I'm not saying it's right, guys. I'm not saying it's right at all. I don't want someone getting a clip from this podcast and getting me, Marcel, saying it's okay to talk about, having sex with women in a really disgusting manner, like these guys are saying. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it does happen. Okay, but it doesn't happen in private like this. Go ahead.
It's just pretty stupid to think, man, that if you have, like, for example, a podcast or whatever behind the pay thing, behind the paywall, and only fans who like you will pay for it, that it won't come out in public, man. I mean, if somebody sees something weird or hears something kind of crazy, they'll probably record it and send it to their friends, like, oh, did you see this? Because you are not behind the paywall,
Yep.
And then that person can upload it to wherever, and then it's still for the public, So that's why I also saw that other clip what we're talking about with Tim Wells and the other fighter talking about drugs. So if not, I would have never saw that. So yeah.
Fair enough. Let's move on from this, guys. I mean, but the last thing I want to say is just, me and Marcel are not condoning behavior. We're just saying it does happen behind closed doors. It does. You'd be lying to yourself and you don't think guys and women talk about sex. They do all the time. But to do it on a public podcast, to do it blasting your coworker like that was just wrong. And, I'd hope the UFC says something. I doubt it, though. They don't care about this stuff, man. Dan Edwards, regarding Li Jingliang, he said that's Song Yadong's brother, so silly. Yeah, I mean, that's weird. Okay, so let's move on to some other stuff here. How about this article I posted yesterday? Well, actually, front click online. I'm not gonna say it. It's my article. They interviewed Khamzat. They're a Swedish outlet, Marcel, newest one. They talked to Khamzat. He's basically beat up a heavy bag in this video, which is pretty fun. And they start talking about Leon Edwards. He goes, "I've never seen him fight before. I've never watched Leon fight before." That is really bizarre to me, man. Like, you're taking on the number 3 guy in the world, and you're that overconfident. He basically said, "I've seen Usman, the YouTube highlights where he just dominates him with wrestling, and that's all I need to know." Don't you think he's underestimating him, Marcel? I mean, Leon Edwards is really damn good, man.
I don't know what the mindset is, I mean, if you don't like to watch your opponent and you want to go in blank, like I'm going in and don't know anything, maybe it's a good thing. Can be a bad thing, but if you're really that good, as everybody says Khamzat is, yeah, why not? If you believe in your own, but it can be tricky as well. It's what works for you. I mean, many fighters want to know how their opponent react to certain things, so they're going to study them. But other fighters are like, I know what I have to do, and if I do my game plan, I will win. So it's kind of what's right for you.
Absolutely. It's not like the first time I've heard a fighter say, "I don't watch tape." My coaches and teammates do, but it's just the way he was so overconfident. He's like, "I'm going to smash this guy, brother. I'm going to smash him. I'm going to take him down and knock him out." He goes, "Leon Edwards doesn't have any knockout power," which I don't think is true. I think he does have KO power. We saw him knock out Seth Brzezinski in 8 seconds, I think, in his second fight in the UFC. So for him to say that, it could be a rude awakening, Marcel. Listen, I'm all in on Khamzat. I think he's legit. I think he's incredible. This is a tough fight, man. Leon Edwards is one of the best in the world. He's not only a good striker, he's actually an excellent wrestler, especially for a guy from England where they don't necessarily learn wrestling coming up. He's a great grappler. So I think it's going to be a tougher fight than Khamzat thinks, but I'm glad to hear he's 100% healthy. He says his lungs are feeling better now after that COVID outbreak or whatever he had, so he's feeling better. All right, how about some other things here? Let's do some other news and notes. Jairzinho Rozenstruik, Ciryl Gane, 5 rounds now, Marcel. I believe the Yuri fight's been postponed, I guess, with Dominic. Is that right?
Yeah.
Canceled or rescheduled? What have you heard?
Sorry?
What have you heard? Has it been canceled or rescheduled yet? Or
rescheduled, what I've heard.
What day have you heard?
No date.
Okay. So maybe April or May, something like that. Yeah. That's too bad. That would have been a great fight. But, yeah, I mean, this is a great fight. I don't know if it's going to go the full 5 rounds. It could.
I'd be surprised.
Rozenstruik and Overeem almost went 5, so it's possible it could. But what do you think of this matchup, man? I mean, don't give me your pick by any means, but what are your thoughts on this being from 3 to 5 now, moving from 3 to 5?
I'm pretty confident in my pick, so if you want my pick,
I know your pick is. Like, you're going to pick Ciryl Gane. I already know that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, who isn't, right? The guy's great, but I actually Rozenstruik. He's another. He speaks the same language as you, man. When he finds this out, he's going to be upset at himself.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. I'm just being honest.
I'm just messing with you, bro. Yeah, I like the fight a lot. I believe in Gane. I believe in both guys, but you're right. Gane he's a special guy, right? Like, you talk about future champions. I think when we did the list a few weeks ago, he was one of the guys that you were like, that's my guy for heavyweight.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, for sure, man. But also, listen, man, Rozenstruik is, how do you say it, striking. It's quality striking. He has good striking, but his ground game isn't existing, to be honest, and Gane has good striking also, but his ground game is definitely existing. He has a good ground game. I mean, a heavyweight who can do a heel hook is pretty rare, in the UFC, for example. So I think Gane has just more ways to win this fight, and Rozenstruik only way to win this fight is to knock him out. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, no, I think you're right about that. I think it's a good fight. I don't mind it being a main event. And I think that's March 13th. Is that right? Or am I wrong? February 27th.
February 27th. Yeah.
Sorry, guys, wrong date.
It was March 13th for us.
Yeah, it got moved to that date, obviously. Aspen Ladd called out Julianna Pena. You see that? You like the call out? Yeah.
Yeah, I said it immediately after the fight. Those two should fight together. and then we can Holm should fight the randomie, and the winner of those two fights can fight for the vacant title if Nunes is gone.
Yeah, sure. That's the other thing. I thought Aspen might call it Holly Holm or Germaine just because they're ranked higher than Julianna. She's ranked number 6, Julianna. Lad is 3. But she hasn't fought in a year and a half or so. She had ACL surgery. Maybe she thinks this is I don't even know if it's an easier fight necessarily, but compared to Germaine and to Holly, they're a little step up, I think, on Julianna. I do like the matchup, though. I actually think that back in October when they did these fights, it should have been Holly Germaine 2, and then Irene Aldana against Julianna Pena, because you would have had a fresh contender. In this case, both the prospects lost, kind of like not prospects, but you know what I mean.
True, but like I said to you as well, man. On the other hand, I think you should beat either Germaine or Holm to get a shot at Nunes at first.
You're right. I mean, if they can't beat her, then she would have no chance, right?
But from a promotion kind of view, I fully agree with you. Yeah.
Great. All right, let's get this comment from Jose Flores. This is definitely for you, Marcel. Any news on Alexander Romanov, the heavyweights, King Kong?
Actually, he was supposed to fight in February or March, but I know his opponent didn't accept or something.
Don't tell me it was Georges Danho. Don't tell me.
No, it wasn't him. It
was
wasn't
it Marcin Tybura? Did he get Tybura? Do you know?
No, also not. But please don't give me names because I can't say. But
I know I love doing this to Marcel, man. I do it in private too, guys.
I know the Romanov side still hopes that fight will happen, and either I think it was in March, but haven't heard anything back. So I don't know if. As far as I know, not.
I'm going to get this comment. Hey, Kevin. Good morning, man. Strawberry rumors over the weekend. Any news? JJ Yan, Zhang defense in April. John Hyun Ko reported either April 17th or April 24th in Singapore. That's what they're trying to do. Dana White said a few weeks ago they want to do something in Asia with Zhang. I'm guessing Rose, but it might be Esparza instead now. But yeah, we don't really know. I don't know too much. Only what John wrote on Twitter. Have you heard anything else, Marcel?
Yeah, it will be definitely 24th. 17th is Whitaker against Costa.
And Jake Paul versus Ben Askren.
Yeah, definitely. What the hell? Yeah, I don't know, man. I saw the rumors as well. I know that the UFC wants Hall versus Whiteman on that fight on that card as well in Asia.
That's UFC 261 then. That would be
that will be a pay-per-view event. Yeah.
Right. We did see the rumors of that this weekend as well. 261. They're going to move Hall and Weidman to that card. That fight fell off, by the way. That was supposed to be the co-main event next week. The card next week's not that great. I got to be honest. The pay-per-view next week is very weak. The card this weekend is actually very good. I'll be breaking that down with Cole Shelton tomorrow at 10 a.m. Jose Flores, Tybura's willing to fight Ivanov. Okay, I would take that fight. Have you heard that one too, Marcel?
Yeah, somebody messaged me about it on Twitter, but wasn't able to confirm it all. So
he also wanted to hear your thoughts on Pavlovich or the heavyweights.
He's a good fighter.
What happened to him? He's supposed to fight someone. Fight got canceled, right?
Yeah, he was supposed to fight Gane. Remember?
Gane, that's right. Yeah.
But he got the surgery or something. So I don't know, man. When he comes back, me too, man. He's
got good power. But you know what? I remember when he made his debut against Overeem, and Overeem was the underdog in that fight. I couldn't believe it, man. He smashed him. Overeem's just a step above these guys. Jose says if Zhang fights Rose, does Esparza versus Yan make sense? Sure, I would watch. Actually, that fight's a pretty good fight because they're both kind of grappling based, so that'd be a good fight. I think the goal is to do Yan and Zhang, but they want to wait for fans, Marcel. They want fans for these other fights. I don't think in Singapore it's going to matter. They might. I don't know if they're going to allow fans. They might be able to have like fans like they did in Fight Island if they have testing and stuff. And we're hearing Singapore. We said Macau last week where they did the Kung Lee fights. But it looks like Singapore where they did Leon Edwards versus Donald Cerrone, I think. That was and then Frankie Edgar versus Faber. I think they did it at the same place. So they did a few events there. The UFC released one fighter, mutual parting ways, Anthony Rocco Martin, who's I think a very good fighter. He had a winning record in the UFC, 5-2 as a welterweight as well. I posted the article. No one seemed to care. No one cares about this guy. I also received a DM about him. Some domestic issues as well. I don't know if you heard about this, Marcel. So I actually didn't know about this. I saw it on Twitter. I didn't think it was legit. I messaged someone that would know more than me. They said there is something to this. So I don't know for sure, but I did see it on Twitter and I asked someone. So no idea. But I mean, if that's the case, then I don't really care about this guy. But it sucks because he's got the same last name as me, and I do like what I think he's a decent fighter. So that stuff, I don't really know if it's necessarily true, but it is out there. So you can Google it and you can find it yourself. It's not like I'm the only one saying it. So I don't know if you heard about that stuff, Marcel, but
no, man, completely new.
But again, you just told me about Kyle Noblet. I had no clue. I would have had no idea until I Googled his name, right? And when you told me, so yeah. I mean, again, where do you think he signs though? PFL
would make sense, right? I don't know. Yeah. Is he still with Kayla Harrison?
Well, that's I don't know. That's kind of what I heard. Maybe that they're not together anymore. I don't really know any more than that, but I thought they were. So I don't know what happened there, but apparently
he's managed by Ali, right?
Yeah.
Then PFL probably makes sense.
He says Rocco Martin released stuff, not the most flashy fire. Haven't heard about the other stuff. Yeah, I mean, listen, I just heard about it today. I saw it on Twitter. You guys can Google it yourself, find it. I'm not going to spread rumors about people that could be untrue. That's not my goal. I actually like Rocco. I think he's a good fighter. When I heard this morning, I was pretty surprised. So no idea. Really don't know, but you can see it on Twitter yourself. He has a question, CSO. And news of Anthony Delia. This is the former PFL guy who had signed, I think, with the UFC, and then something happened. Is that what happened?
Yeah, but the UFC contract probably void because he was still signed with PFL, so he's still on the contract with PFL, as far as I know.
Yep. All right. Raquel Pennington, 6-month suspension, but she had told them what happened. Basically, she had used something the doctor told her, and then she realized she wasn't able to. So only 6 months, not a big deal.
No, we can't see her great fight for 6 months.
I was gonna say, I mean, she is one of the most boring fighters. Like she's one of those fighters who likes to press people against the fence for 50 minutes. That's the worst type of fighter, Marcel. I'm sorry. And she's had some good fights. Don't get me wrong. She's had some good performances. She's had some nice finishes and stuff, but in general, not the most exciting fighter. You see this thing about Korean Zombie. He talked to the Korean media. He, after the fight with Ortega, gained 20 kilograms, which is about 45 pounds. He fell into a heavy depression. He's calling out the beats. He wants the beat still. Do you think he gets that fight, Marcel, or do you think maybe because he gained all that weight, move up to 155?
I don't know, man. I mean, it depends on what the UFC wants. Does the UFC still want to book the beat against Jair? I don't know. If not, it makes sense, you know?
Yep, absolutely. What else we got here? All right. This is weird, but Dustin Poirier yesterday, you think they interviewed with Junkie, and basically said he wants a vacant title fight not between him, but between Oliveira and Chandler. He said he'll sit back and watch and see what happens. This sounds like a guy that wants to get paid more money to me. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of. Right? Like, why would he say that otherwise? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree, man. It also bothered me when he said, I'm interested in the third fight with Conor or either the Nate Diaz fight. I was like, fuck out of here, man. What's your Nate Diaz fight? You can fight Nate Diaz, but not for a title. And if he says that now, I want to fight those two guys, but not for a title, and let Oliveira Chandler fight for a title, okay, cool. If you want that. I mean, I don't need to see Conor against him or Diaz against him for a title. I want to see him versus Oliveira for a title, you know? Yep. So that's cool to me, but he should fight for the title against Oliveira, man. I mean, and the UFC should just make sure they pay him enough.
I think that's what it's about, Marcel. He's probably waiting for that either Habib fight or Conor to get paid more money, because he probably looks at Charles and Michael Chandler's fights where they'd be pay-per-view main events, but how many pay-per-views do those sell, really? Like maybe 300,000, maybe? I mean, that's a good number, if anything. But if it's Conor McGregor, Marcel, it's going to sell 10 times as much, right? So
I also think the UFC does a pretty sucky thing with promoting fighters, man. They only promote like 5 or 6 fighters who don't even need promotion. They know how to promote themselves, you know? And they're pretty lazy with that kind of stuff, in my opinion, man. That's just my opinion. Yep. But I mean, only the guys who where the public already says like, oh, he's impressive, you know, we're going to back him even more, you know. Yep. But there are certain fighters you should back even more to make them more popular, you know. Put them on regular stuff, show them on events, show their highlights or something. Do something, you know. Dana White, promoter, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree with that completely. Just one other thing here. Paige VanZant, she's fighting next weekend, or this week, I should say. She's fighting this weekend against Britton Hart. She basically said, I don't care if I get cut up. I don't mind. I'm going to still be beautiful either way. I don't care about the cuts. She's like, I appreciate people being worried about me, but worry about yourself, basically. So she thinks she's going to have a good time in PFL or in BKFC. I'm not too sure. What do you think, Marcel?
Listen, man. Beck Rawlings is a champion over there, and she absolutely destroyed Beck Rawlings.
Head kicked her.
She head kicked her, man. But I don't know. People are so upset about it, you know. And probably she got paid a lot that she signed over there, you know. And also let me make some. So let's plug my stuff here.
Absolutely.
I will give away a code for the bare knuckle FC fights on Saturday with Paige VanZant on the card on my account, Big Marcel 24 on Twitter, and that will be probably a 24-hour contest. I will probably put that out on Wednesday or Thursday. So if you want to see the card, if you want to get a chance to win a code, make sure to check it out.
And Marcel does it the right way. He's like, just retweet it, and I think like the tweet. You don't have to follow me. He's not one of these people that are like, hey, I have $10 to give out. You have to follow me, like my tweet, like my website, and then have my 5 children with me as well. Like that's what everyone wants, right? Marcel, it's always more than just the one thing. But Marcel is actually giving out codes. Marcel's the man. Let me do this one. This is actually something I wrote. So Rory MacDonald, former UFC fighter, obviously, Bellator fighter, now in PFL. He did an AMA that I had seen on Reddit, and I went and watched it. I transcribed it. A few other websites picked it up, which is cool. It was a good thing. So let's see what he said, and then I'll show you the picture if you guys haven't seen it. UFC comeback, possibly. We'll see. I plan on doing some of my best fights at PFL in the next couple of years while I'm with them, but you never know what's going to happen after that. My coming fight is April 29th. I don't know where it is yet, but it's my first round of PFL regular season. He said Ray Cooper 3 and Magomed Karamov could be opponents. But here's what I want to show you. Like, I mean, look at the guy. He looks great. He looks great, man. And a lot of jokes about he's on the goose now and everything. They don't test the PFL. I'm not convinced that's what the case is here. This is a guy who he hasn't fought in over a year. So I think he's been bulking up. He looks good. He's going to fight 170. People are like, is he fighting 185 again? Like when he fought Mousasi? I don't think so. He's going to have to obviously cut some weight. But man, he looks good. And I'm a Canadian. He's one of the greatest Canadian fighters of all time. One of the greatest fights of all time with Robbie Lawler. The guy's amazing. I'm excited to see how he does in PFL. I think he has to be the favorite probably right now, just based on name value and everything. But there's some tough guys in PFL, man. Are you excited about Rory's PFL debut? And do you think he'll come back to the UFC? Like, because he said, the option is open.
I'm always rooting against the Canadians, man. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know, man, what he's going to do. I mean, he looks good. He looks ripped right now. But, man, Conor McGregor looked great as well, and so it's very hard to say how he's going to do. I think he's a very talented guy. I think we saw that over the years in the UFC. We saw that in Bellator as well, actually. Not as good as in the UFC, but in Bellator he did okay, I think. Yeah, we will see, man. I hope he got that fire back that he had in the UFC. I think the Lawler fight took very much off him, that was a crazy fight. But I think he can still compete with the PFL guys. Will be fun, man. I'm looking forward to PFL getting back. I mean, by the way, probably PFL is not watching this, but please start your fights earlier, man. I mean, It's on a Thursday. I can stay awake till 7 a.m. to watch fights and work 10 a.m. the next day. So doesn't work for me.
Yeah, no, it's tough. I mean, like I like PFL though. I'll be honest. Like I think their format's great. I love the tournament format. Man.
Yeah,
I'd see if Bellator, but even better in some ways because you do have that one night with the 2 fights. I actually don't mind that. I know that for the fighters, maybe it's not great, but as a fan, it's pretty cool.
They got to do something about the quarterfinals, man, with the 2 rounds, and then the first round is a decider or something, or whatever. Yeah, that sucks. You got to do something about that. That's not good.
I think they're going to need to do like where the judges are forced to make a decision kind of thing. Like they have to write down a name after. So even if it is tied, you have to give a name. Like you have to do like pride rules almost, but you do the 2 rounds, and if it's not 2018 or 2019 or whatever it would be.
Or score the fight in its whole, not with 1 round and 2 rounds. Do 2 rounds, or do a 1 round from a 10-minute 1 round.
Yeah, because I agree. Because it's weird how they'll fight 2 rounds and then the guy who won the first round then gassed out the second.
It's just weird.
It doesn't make sense.
No.
Listen, PFL, they're still learning, they're still doing their thing, but I hope they have a good year. Okay.
Same.
I think that's it for. Is there any other news that we missed, Marcel, that you want to talk about? Because we're going to go to fight announcements now. But was there any other news? Because I'm sure I missed something.
There was some late last night. Some people were upset about a clip Piotr Jan posted.
But okay, I heard about it, but I didn't see it. What happened?
So there was like a homeless guy at his gym or something, and he was filming him, and he's like, "Hey Aljo." He said Alja, but he meant Aljo. So people were really upset about it. That's the only thing I saw.
Was he a black guy that was sleeping?
Yeah.
Jesus.
No, it wasn't a black guy. He was just he was a black guy. He wasn't sleeping. I mean, he was walking through the door or something. I think it's still on Twitter somewhere. Somebody
you can see my face, guys. That's not good, man. Can these guys honestly do they need to resort to I love Peter Yan, but that's clearly.
Let me check. I can send it to you so you can see it.
Yeah, but it's clearly got some negative connotations there, guys. Like, can these fighters be a little bit smarter about this stuff? Come on, man. Especially these guys that we all like Peter Yan. He's so good.
I'll just send it to you right now.
I'm gonna take a look at this, guys. But yeah, I mean, if it's true, it's not good. And don't get me wrong, I really like Peter. Let's see.
Me too.
What the fuck? Well, it's on his Instagram, so it's real, right? I mean,
yeah, they took it down afterwards, I think. But...
Man, that's dumb. And I like Peter, but I'm sure Danny told him to take it down. And what's the other guy? What's his other Danny, and who's the other guy?
Sayat.
Yeah, I'm sure they told him, yo, take this down, bro. What are you doing? It's not good. Did Sterling say anything? Do you know if he said anything?
I don't think he did. No.
Maybe he didn't see it.
He even texted Sterling in it. You saw that?
He texted Sterling?
Yeah, he tagged him in the.
Oh, he tagged him? Oh, really? Okay. So I'm sure he did. All right, let's move on to this one. Actually, before we get to the fight announcements, there were some events on the weekend besides XMMA, which you talked about. Mm-hmm. LFA. Kevin says, not sure if you caught LFA last week, but Juban on the mic seems like a natural fit. I didn't see it, but I heard he was really good. He does the podcast with Karen Bryant. He does analyst duties. He's a great-looking guy, obviously. He's a model. I mean, how is that guy 38 years old, Marcel? The guy looks like he's in his 20s, bro. I really like him, and I think he's kind of at the end of his career, probably. So you think he's going to be one of these guys they bring in, Al Juban? Behind they do the fights, actually.
Makes sense, I think. Yeah, why not? I haven't seen it myself either.
Yeah.
So I think also LFA, man, I like to watch it, but I never can watch the whole card because the last 3 fights are just too late for me to watch.
You know what's funny? Okay, so about this card. So actually, well, the one guy that really stands out here is Josh Fremd. He knocked out Bruno Oliveira in the first round. The odds were like a pick 'em. He is a really good prospect. This guy will probably be in the UFC probably soon, maybe after this fight. It's possible. Oliveira was a guy that everyone's hyping up. He's also like 36 years old, Marcel. So I think a little bit too much hype. But there was another guy, JJ Okanovic. He lost, which surprised me. He was a good prospect. Hadn't fought in 2 years since the Contender Series. And then there was one other fight. I was going to mention it really quickly, but it was funny because there's this fight between this girl, Tabitha Ricci. She's 4-0 now, Brazilian girl. She fought someone named Vanessa Marie Grimes, who's 1-6. So I wrote my article on it, and I wrote in the article, I'm like, this is clearly a squash match. LFA's clearly trying to get their prospect to win. LFA they read the article, and they sent me a message on Twitter like, actually, this is clearly an example of someone who got injured. We found a short replacement. I'm like, okay, guys, thanks for the info, but this girl submitted her in like 2 minutes, so that's a joke. I think this Ricci girl is actually very good. But I didn't see anything else. But yeah, that's someone to keep an eye on. Listen, UFC and LFA, Marcel, you do well in LFA, you'll probably be in the UFC or in Bellator, right? So it's one of the better like feeder organizations.
Or in one championship if your name is James
Nakashima, who can't finish a fight. That's probably why, because he's a decision machine. And didn't he just lose to Shinya Aoki?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and Shinya's pretty old now too. Marcus Williams, hey Marcus, he says, this is a great question for you, Marcel. Any big news for Bellator, MVP, y'all, and Dennis?
You don't want to know, man. I hear a rumor that Bellator won't come back until
I've had 2 rumors about Bellator. Number one, I talked to Alex Pereira's manager. I should say this. He won on his fight. He won by split decision in Glory. So I messaged his manager, who also is managing Patricio Pitbull, and I said, hey, how many fights does he have left in LFA? Because I'd like to see him in MMA again. He's got one more fight. He told me, he's like, we're going to make our decision after that. We have a lot of interest. So Alex Pereira will probably go to the UFC if I had to guess, but Bellator is an option. The other rumor I heard about Bellator, this is not from the manager at all, because he told me that he actually doesn't have any news. He's like, we're just waiting for Bellator to call us with the contract for Pitbull, because I asked about Pitbull too. But what was I going to say? LFA, Bellator, yeah. I heard the Bellator European Series is going to get canceled. That's what I heard today. Did you hear that too?
Well. Yeah.
You heard that too? Yeah. So that's not good for the fighters, obviously. Go ahead.
Yeah, and Bellator, I heard as well a rumor Bellator won't return until April 9th.
That's a Friday night. Friday night, or I thought they do Thursdays now.
Yeah, I honestly don't know, but that's what I've heard, man. April 9th. And let's see, Friday. And I know some guy has a fight scheduled on April 16th, so that's also Friday. Yeah,
okay, maybe they're going back to Fridays this year because they went to Thursday last year. Maybe it wasn't a good day, I guess. I don't mind Fridays. I probably prefer it.
I mean, very bad by Bellator to start at April if that's really the deal, man. I mean, come on.
Bro,
You can't compete with the UFC what they want if they're going to start in April, in my opinion.
You know what's funny though? People are going to call me a Bellator basher right now, which is fine because I want to say something on Bellator. I'm not, because I watched Bellator for over 10 years, dude. I've been watching since their second season. Actually, their first season. Sorry, when Masvidal lost to Amada, that was the first season. That's what I've been watching.
That crazy
the reverse triangle throw, one of the greatest submissions of all time.
Yeah.
With Toby Amada, who's you talk about a gatekeeper. Everyone's like, "Oh, Masvidal's the gatekeeper." It's actually Toby Amada. He's like the ultimate journeyman.
Yeah.
I've been watching since then. I've watched all their cards for over the years. I've been to like 5 Bellator events, so I really do like Bellator. And me and Marcel talk about it all the time. We're both pro fighter first. Bellator right now is turning into a joke. It's such a second-rate organization, man. Like, they don't have any events for their fighters, dude. They did to them last year. They got to get these guys fights. Come on, guys. Like, these guys, these are people that they need money for their families, Marcel. They're not going to survive on no money. Like, I understand that it's a pandemic and everything. If the UFC can do it, why can't Bellator do it? I don't get it, Marcel. Tell me.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I just said it, man. I mean, April 9th, what I've heard. I mean, if that's really the deal, that's just bad.
That's terrible. That's 3 more months. I mean, like, yeah, these guys are going to get time to train now. But anyways, any more questions, guys, throw them in. But we're going to go to some fight announcements on Marcel's page now. All right, Marcel, let's do it. Go to your page. So, and actually, just to get back to what Marcus was saying, all those guys like Yoel and Rumble, these guys that signed there, they're going to have to wait a while to fight, man. Sucks. All right. This is a short notice replacement fight. I think this is this weekend. Timur Valiev against Martin Day, and Day's filling in for Julio Arce. This is, it's at 130. So Arce was going to drop down a weight class?
Yeah.
Wow. Actually, I would have liked Arce, I think, in that fight. Timur Valiev, man, he gassed out in about 5 minutes, Marcel, in that fight with Trevin Jones. But Martin Day got knocked out by David Grant, who has no knockout power. So, what do you think of this fight?
Yeah, man. I mean, I've been high on Valiev for years. He's a great fighter. I think he got. I didn't agree with that, man, against Jones. He poured it on him for 1 minute, and the referee didn't interfere. And one was the other way around. He interfered in 10 seconds or something. So, I mean, that was weird. I hate for Jones that he got the fight overturned to no contest because of marijuana use or whatever, weed. Yeah. Martin Day is 0-3 in the UFC, but you can make an argument that he actually won his debut against Ping Yuan Liu, I think. Besides that, I think Valiev is overall stronger, and probably with his wrestling, he can do a lot of damage as well. So you don't want to give me my pick, but I will do it. Valiev's going to win this fight.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually, I don't mind if you give me this pick because this is this weekend, so it's okay. I'll be doing my show tomorrow with Cole. I actually need to look in this a little bit more because it's just short notice fights. I just know Martin Day doesn't have a great chin because David Grant knocks out nobody, knocked him out, although I did have Grant in that fight at plus money. Kevin Scott, Bellator's bookings make their card boring. Listen, I like Bellator, but there's a lot of fights that are just stupid. Like when MVP fought, he fought like 3 cans in a row for no reason after he lost to what's his name, Douglas Lehman. Then he fought these 3 cans in a row. It made no sense. What are you gonna say, Marcel?
Hey man, I mean, if you win a main event like Jaroslav Amosov against Ed Root, there is a big chance you will be in the prelims next.
And Amosov's the guy they should be pushing. That guy's incredible. He's a future champion.
That's crazy, man. How can you put somebody who defeat Ed Root in the main event, the next card on a prelim? That's just stupid. Ugh. And then if you see what's on the main card, it's not even good. So
I agree. And he says any hints on Romanov, he can't say, unfortunately. He says Espino Latifi only heavyweights hinted news. Unfortunately, Marcel's sworn to secrecy on this one, man. So you can't say. Daniel says with Marcel and the Valley of Jones stoppage. Yeah, it was a weird fight because the referee could have stopped in the first round. Go ahead.
You have no idea how much shit I got for that on Twitter. That I said Tononi was like Valiev. He let him pour on for a minute, didn't do anything. Yeah, and then Jones knocked down Valiev, which were pretty good shots. Don't get me wrong, but Valiev was. Valiev was trying to get a takedown at that moment, and then the referee interfered, and people were like, "Oh, he's trying to take down the referee." No, he was trying to take down Jones, and I think he almost had him, and he stopped the fight. So I didn't really like that, and people were like, "Yeah, you're just biased for the European." I was like, you guys gotta understand these people. If I'm from the Netherlands, doesn't mean we are supporting all Europeans. It's not like that. It's not the U.S., the U.S. is a country, the USA, We are the Netherlands. We are not, Europe is not a country. You know what I mean? It's a country.
No, I know what you're saying.
And plus, I don't even listen. I always hope that my countrymen or countrywomen do well, but that doesn't mean I always want them to win. I have my favorites as well, but I don't say it in public.
Absolutely. So as far as that stoppage goes, I think the actual stoppage was fine, but I think the first round could have been stopped too. So I think there was a fight where it could have been stopped twice. And of course, referee Chris Tione, man, him in the 2 stoppages every fight. So Daniel says Gay seems to have some good luck with the Valiev was in the intentions, volume high. Due for some good luck, yeah. Flores says Gillespie Riddell hasn't been announced. Is that a fight that's happening?
The thing is, at a certain moment, somebody DM'd me and it's like, Brett Riddell is fighting Gregor Gillespie. I was like, I tried to get it confirmed, didn't get it confirmed. Riddell signed a contract, but that's almost 1.5, 2 months ago. And that was on 258, was it supposed to be, I think, along with Kai Kara France, Carlos Alberg, and Adesanya. But Christopher Reeve from the New Zealand Herald, he interviewed Carlos Alberg and Kai Kara France about these upcoming fights. He didn't interview Brett Riddell, so I kind of feel like this fight has fizzled or isn't going to happen at all at 258, because if it would have been, they probably would have announced it along with Alberg and Kai Kara France, because also the UFC announced both those fights on Friday, I think, or on Thursday. So I kind of think the fight is not going to happen, or maybe at a later date, but I haven't heard anything. So I also haven't heard, because at a certain moment, Riddell said I had a fight, and at the next podcast, he's like, I'm probably having a fight. So I don't know, man. It's weird.
I like both those guys, man. They're both really good.
Yeah.
Dale says, well said, and the second stoppage was better than the non-stoppage earlier. Yeah. And I will say that Trevin, he did get the fight overturned in no contest, but he talked to John Ranco a few months ago, and he said that they didn't take away his bonus. So he kept his $50,000 bonus.
Nice.
He really got caught for smoking weed, because years ago, Pat Healy had fought Jim Miller and submitted him, and he lost $100,000 in bonus.
Yeah.
Remember that? That was so sad to see. I felt bad for that guy.
But also got to think that Trevin Jones was
short notice, right?
Short notice on 4 or 5 days. So, I mean...
I know, but it's 2013 to now. Weed is way more in the States. No. I think people care about it less, these commissions. I think. TSO says, JCSO, did you guys hear about Kevin Holland? I haven't heard that at all. Do you hear about that? Or
Kevin Holland always says he's fighing once.
Yeah, he wants to fight every weekend.
So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all, because 258 really needs something on the main card more. I think it's a pretty underwhelming card, man. That's some cool fights. I like the Grasso Barber fight. I like the Gastelum fight, but overall, it's really underwhelming.
Yeah, those are fight night fights. I think that Frankie versus Corey Sandhagen could have been the co-main event. I don't know. To me, it's kind of been buried. That fight should be 5 rounds too, by the way. I would have rather seen that as the main event over. We got 10 minutes left. We'll go through more fights here. Here's my comment. The big boys. I love this fight, man. Chase Sherman, Parker Porter. So Chase hasn't fought in a while. I think he tested positive, if I'm not mistaken. He's been out for a while, right?
I don't know for sure.
I think he tested positive for the fight with Ike. I'm pretty sure. Let me double check, but I'm pretty sure he got overturned. Maybe he didn't get overturned yet, but yeah, he did test. He tested positive for steroids, so he's back finally. Takes on Parker Porter, this guy who looked amazing in his last fight against Josh Parisian, huge upset. What do you think of this fight, Marcel? The big boys, they're going to have the big referee in there too, Big Dan Miragliotta.
Yeah, they probably put Keith Peterson in it, but yeah, I mean, this is a typical heavyweight fight. Under top 15, which can be a great fight and can be an absolutely sucky fight. It's either one of the two. So looking forward to see what they're going to bring. We know after 1 round what's going to happen, probably, I think. So I mean,
I agree, but Parker Porter's cardio looked amazing in the last fight. It looked incredible.
It's true, man. But I still have to say that these are not top 15 heavyweights, so it's always hard to measure what we're going to see in this one. And I got to say, honestly, Chase Sherman looked good against Ike Villanueva. Like you said, Porter looked good against Parisian. So, yeah, let's see what's going to happen, man. The winner of this one will probably a top 15 guy or just under the top 15. So,
I agree with that. Here's another heavyweight fight. Ben Rothwell versus Philipe Lins. This Philipe Lins guy has been absolutely terrible in the UFC so far. Huge bust, Marcel. He won the PFL tournament, comes to UFC. Tanner Boser knocked him out, I think, and then he lost to who was it? He lost a really bad decision, right? Arlovsky, I think. Yeah. So and then Arlovsky did beat Rothwell too. I guess they have that common opponent. Rothwell is getting up there in age. He's 40 years old almost. He's he's not even 40 yet. That's incredible. He's not 40 yet. He's 39 still, but. he is a guy who's had a lot of fights, taking a lot of damage. But Philipe wins, man, so underwhelming. Marcel, what do you think of this fight?
I mean, I always like Rothwell for some reason. I don't know why. He's kind of an unorthodox guy.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
It's hard to say, man. I think Lins looked good in PFL. He won the PFL, right? So
you can't pick him. No, I don't think.
No, I would probably pick Rothwell pure on how do you say that, on experience and on the way he has showed himself in the octagon so far. And Lins has been really underwhelming, man. It's actually, I think this is his last chance probably to impress the UFC here.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I mean,
because he probably has a good contract as well, man. I think from PFL, he came as PFL champion. He's how do you say that? He's with Ali, so he probably has a good contract.
Yeah, he better win this fight. You know, I like Rothwell though. Like you said, unorthodox. You mentioned as well. Dude, he's fun to watch. He's weird, kind of a weird fighter. Like the fight with Josh Barnett where he choked him out with that guillotine choke. I mean, he's got some weird finishes, right? Like he's an interesting guy. So yeah, I think he probably should win.
Don't piss Ben Rothwell off. It's a go-go choke.
A go-go choke. That's right. You actually got it. Jose Flores, thoughts on Rug, his win last Friday? He's looking promising. I know you like him, Marcel.
Yeah, man. I mean, I wasn't really a fan of the stoppage, to be honest, but he fought very well and he won the fight. So I'm looking forward to what's going to be next. I think one championship is perfect for him, man. The Alan Galani fight is a solid win to have on your debut. So let's see, man. I mean, there are some good fights for him in that division, but also some difficult ones, man. Like, I wouldn't want to see Rogue against Arjun Buller, for example, at this moment. So let's see what's happening, man. I'm looking forward to it. Rogue is a fun prospect.
Absolutely. They just get this comment because we already talked about this. He says Dustin's latest tweet about Chandler. Yeah, dude, he had an interview with Junkie where he said he doesn't really want to fight Chandler. He doesn't think he deserves it, basically. So
I agree.
I don't think, and he doesn't. Let's be honest. I love Chandler. Me and Marcel are huge Chandler fans, but you shouldn't come in the UFC with one win over Dan Hooker and get a title shot over Charles Oliveira, just beat Tony Ferguson and 8 other fighters in the UFC, right? So, he also asked about Arlovsky Aspinall. I like that fight, but we'll break down that fight later on. Let's do some other the newer announcements. How about this one? Alberg and Kennedy Nchekwu. This guy, man, I remember when he fought Paul Craig, he was beating the shit out of him, and then he lost in the 3rd round. Like when he's like Ankalev. Ankalev, by the way, is training with Sean Strickland. I don't know if you saw that. That is pretty sweet. Okay, cool. Yeah, dude, that's crazy, eh? Him and Maxime Grishin, they're both in California at that gym. Can't remember the name of it right now. But this Alberg guy is excellent. So I would assume, this looks like a kind of a mismatch, right?
Yeah, it's so hard to say, man, because Alberg looked really good. But if you see his record, he's only 3-0 yet. I know he had some fights in kickboxing as well, and he won a tournament. It's hard to say, man. I mean, Kennedy isn't a bad fighter at all. He did well in the Stosic fight, I know.
Yeah.
Stosic got 2 points deducting, but
but
he would have still won without the points deducted. He would have won a split decision. So, I'm wondering, man. It's the only thing was difficult was to make a good picture from these two next to each other because of the hair.
Yeah. But okay, I see. That's why you have the black background too, maybe.
The thing is, the Contender Series guys don't have really good portrait photos yet, and they only have the the white background. So I'm always making the black background. It looks better, I think.
It does. It looks good, man. You do a great job with this. You know, I love your Instagram. And this fight's rebooked. It's Simone and Kelleher. So we've talked about this fight. That's happening February 13th at 145. So up a weight class. I don't think we talked about this one. This is this weekend as well.
Yeah.
Yusuf Zalov and Sung Woo Choi. You know what? If you want to give me your pick, you can, because I'll have Cole on tomorrow for his pick. I'm not going to give mine. But you have a pick? Oh, yeah. I mean, I have to look at it more, but that would be my lean. That is this weekend. This fight's great. Again, actually don't give me your pick for this one, because I actually want to look into this one more. Okay. Because I love this fight. I'm huge on this girl, Karol Rosa. I think she's great. And Joselyne Edwards looked amazing last weekend, 2 weekends ago. So so it's a great fight. We talked about this one, I think, Vittori Till already. We talked about that. We talked about this one. This one's been right when you say it's official, Marcel, I think it's canceled.
Yeah, it sucks, man.
This fight's happening this weekend. Actually, I think we
That's by the way, I have do again. Ode Osborne against Dennis Bondar. I think I saw. Yeah, I have a catch rate 130. It should be 140.
Okay, that's right. That's right. Yes. And then there's a few other fights. Justin Jacoby versus Maxim Grishin. Again, I just mentioned Grishin. He's training with Sean Strickland. Justin Jacoby, man, that guy's a fun guy to watch. Ronnie Yaya versus Ray Rodriguez. If Yaya loses this fight, he's going to be cut 100%.
Yeah,
right?
I think so too, man. Yeah,
I'm surprised he wasn't part of the 60 guys. I thought he would have been. Go ahead.
Go back against Oda Osborne against Bondar if you want. Let's see if it changed now.
I probably have to.
You have to. Okay, okay. Never mind. In that case,
I'm making sure.
Okay.
There we go. 140 pounds. There you go. Again, we don't have much time left. I'm just going to skip through these. Cummings and Alvey, pretty solid fight. This is old. These are all old, but I like this fight as well. John McDessie and Ignacio Bahamondis. This guy is great, Marcel. Bahamondis.
Yeah.
Great prospect. And I love John McDessie. He's one of the few UFC fighters from Canada still existing on the roster, but this could be his last fight too. And I really like John a lot. He's a great fighter, but that could be it. MMA forum guy, hey, what's going on, man? He says Philippe Lins was on 80K to show for his first UFC fight. Really? I'm surprised they even released the salaries. I thought they weren't doing that anymore.
Back then they did still. So yeah.
Last June? Yeah.
So that's why I said, man, if he loses this one, he's probably gone. He is how do we say that? He is too high on the payroll for what.
Also, my apologies. That fight was in Jacksonville. That's why they didn't release. Florida does give the salaries. You're right, 80,000. That's a bit too much for that guy, I would say, right? I mean, I don't want to say guys should make less money because, listen, the UFC makes all the money, but compared to the other fighters in that division,
exactly compared,
because I'm guessing a guy like Parker Porter, who's probably they put the same skill level, makes about 12,000 or so, right?
I'm pretty sure he doesn't make more than 12 or 14.
Maybe
14 at top. Yeah,
I don't know if Lins is better, but again, Lins, think about it. He took a pay cut for $1 million, right? So, and he also came off a long layoff. I mean. The guy had
didn't fall for a year, I think.
Absolutely. We got a few minutes left, Marcel, but is there any other news you want to talk about? Anything else we missed? Any other fights, fight announcements? Anything?
No, man. I have nothing on the shelf right now, so I have no idea, to be honest. No.
I don't want to get. Well, you know what? Actually, give me your thoughts on the main event for this weekend because it does feature a Dutch fighter, Overeem, and I'm not going to have you on tomorrow. So give me your thoughts on the fight, Overeem versus Volkov.
The funny thing is, man, I've been really never high on Volkov. I think he's a good fighter, but he's not very good at anything. He doesn't really have a specialty, in my opinion. He's just overall a good fighter, a solid fighter. Overeem is a very good kickboxer, but he knows if he kickboxes a lot, he can hit as well. So he doesn't fight that way anymore. It depends, man. If Volkov can tag him, he can knock Overeem out. But I think Overeem overall is more complete. And I don't say that because I'm Dutch, but I would go with Overeem via a unanimous decision. And I don't really expect a great fight, to be honest. You know what? It could go the distance. I mean, Volkov, you say he doesn't do anything particularly well. I know what you're saying, but I will say his cardio for a heavyweight is quite good. And also his differentiation is his height and his reach. I mean, he's one of the tallest guys and longest, weirdest guys. Like he's got a weird body type, right? So I think that's what makes him unique. But I'm looking at this betting line for tomorrow, and it's minus 190, and Overeem's a plus 165 underdog. I just don't understand that at all. So I'll give my thoughts on that fight more tomorrow. But right now, looking at it, I just kind of scratching my head. And then just give me your quick thoughts on the co-main event: Corey Sandhagen, Frankie Edgar, and Corey Sandhagen's a minus 450 favorite. Frankie Edgar plus 350. That's crazy. Kind of disrespectful, to be honest. Right, it is, isn't it? Yeah, I mean. I saw, by the way, some very disrespectful comments about Frankie Edgar on, I think it was on MMA Junkie or it was on BJPen.com, an article. And I was like, these people started watching fights 1 year ago and don't go back into history or something. What did they say? What did it say? They were like, Frankie Edgar was never a top-tier fighter. He was never there. He just got free title shots and everything. And I was like, dude, this guy is one of the best fighters who ever fought in the UFC, in my opinion. He evolved from a wrestler to a very complete fighter. I have so much respect for Frankie. He's also, I think, a very good guy, a hardworking guy. He's the kind of guy who I always compare him with a guy in class who I will go for a 6 and I'm happy with it, and he will try to get an 8 or a 9 because that's what he's striving to, and that's how I see Frankie Edgar. So I was like that in school, not in real life, by the way, just making sure to say it. But That's how I see Frankie Edgar. So I was pretty upset with that, when people say that. I don't agree with that at all. That said, I think Sandhagen is more in his prime of his career, and Edgar is getting older, man. Let's be honest. And I really respect Edgar, but I would definitely go with Corey Sandhagen in this fight. I think Corey Sandhagen takes a unanimous decision, but don't underestimate Frankie Edgar, man. Don't underestimate Frankie Edgar.
All right. Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, I think we're going to get out of here for today. So you guys can follow me on Twitter at MMAOB. Follow Marcel, Big Marcel24. Check out his website, MMA DNA. Follow my Instagram. His Instagram is awesome. Podcast, MMAOddsbreaker.com, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, everywhere. You guys can find it. Be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. with Cole Shelton, breaking down this weekend's UFC Fight Night card, Obrey and Volkov. Marcel maybe will be in the chat. We can talk to him some more. Marcel, appreciate it, man. Talk to you guys tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.